Today, I'll be answering one of humanity's greatest questions. What's the best way to eat mashed potatoes? To figure this out, I'm going to try a couple of different methods of cooking the potatoes and mashing the potatoes. I'm starting with these Australian kestrel potatoes. They are small, waxy potatoes that are great for mashing. Peeling the potatoes isn't totally necessary, but it's what I'm doing today for consistency. Cut the potatoes into small cubes and store them in some water to prevent browning and oxidation. Now for the experimental part. Half of these I'm going to roast and the other half I'm going to boil. Preheat oven to 200 degrees Celsius. Whatever you do, do not do what I'm doing here and put your potatoes on ungreased parchment. You'll see why later. Little drizzle of olive oil and into the oven until brown. If you want, you can add dried or fresh herbs at this point, but for consistency, I did not. Take the rest of the potatoes to the stove and bring to the boil. Lid on. This water is cold from the tap. No need to pre-boil the water. I see no adverse effects by having the potatoes in the water as it warms up. Time to check the roasties. I'm going to flip up. Damn, these are properly stuck on. Okay, to avoid all this mess, a couple of tips. First, rinse the potatoes before putting them on the tray. This will get all that extra starch off the outside that gets caramelized and stuck to the parchment. Second tip is to spray or grease the pan with oil or butter, and the third and best tip is don't use parchment. I couldn't even tell you why I did this. The tray is clean, it's just old. Okay, these have been ripped from the paper and flipped. Time to return to the oven. Water is boiling, so off comes the lid. I boil my potatoes for 15 minutes when mashing, including the heat time. I like to make sure these are really cooked before mashing. 15 minutes later and it's time to strain and mash. I'm dividing this in half so I can do one in the masher and one in the ricer. Mashed, get some butter, and heck, why not? Put some in the potatoes pre-ricer, you idiot. Ricing potatoes is so much easier than mashing, but the cleanup is slightly more annoying for someone like me without a dishwasher. Little glug of milk. I know my measurements aren't very scientific, I'll pay for that with the upcoming salt and pepper. This one is good, but watch how much salt I put in with the masher potatoes. Little glug of milk and oof, that's a lot of salt. You can add white pepper if you don't like the black spots. I don't mind them, so I'm opting for black pepper. Time to taste for seasoning, and actually that's not too bad. A little bit saltier than ideal, but not a deal breaker for me. You can add other seasonings if you wish, chili flakes, onion powder, or garlic powder. Paprika will be nice, but for simplicity, we're going to keep it cool. Okay, back to the oven, and damn, these look tasty. Yoink. Even without boiling and baking soda, these are still super crunchy. This was 90 minutes in the oven, probably too long for what we're going to be doing here today, but we'll keep on keeping on. Okay, time for the ricer and... Okay, maybe if I... Okay, it's a way too crisp. Not usually a bad thing, but very hard with the ricer. Maybe we'll have some better luck with the masher. Splash of milk, little butter, and mash. Uh-oh. Yeah, okay. Crunchy potatoes don't mash very well. Now you know. Okay, time for the taste test. Ricer is on the right. Ricer is on the right. Okay. Boiled and mashed, the ones I slightly over-seasoned, are quite tasty. They're still a little dry. I probably should have been a little more scientific with my milk and butter measurements. The boiled and riced potatoes is much nicer. Next time I'll weigh it all and I'll be better. I'm sorry, science. I think the ricer adds air to the potatoes, making them lighter. I don't think I was this far off. These are much better potatoes. Okay, now for the roasted and riced potatoes, and these are just crushed, crunchy potatoes. Yummy. But not mashed by any means. And finally, the roasted and mashed. Yeah, chunks of warm butter and milk on hard potatoes is not my thing. So apparently my verdict is boiled and riced, but I'm not satisfied with that. I know mashed potatoes can be better than this, so let's do better. In a large fry pan, I'm putting long strips of middle bacon. This pan is cold, I'm not preheating this pan. bacon fat renders at a lower temperature than bacon cooks, and we want all that fat out of there. Once it's hot and the bacon is starting to brown, I'll flip it. I like to keep flipping, as you'll see, that way there's no surprises. See how much fat comes out of that bacon? Tasty. Okay, once crispy, we'll remove that from the heat. I'm going to cook this part of the bacon too, because once the fat is gone from the bacon, the volume shrinks up a lot. I'll chop this stuff and place it in a bowl. This stuff gets chopped up too and into the same bowl. All of this and the potatoes go into the fridge. I'm going to grab some of this delicious red cheddar and grate lots and lots of it. Once cooled, I'll pull out the chilled potatoes and mix in the cheese and bacon. I like a ratio of 1:3 by volume. 1 part bacon, 2 parts cheese, and 3 parts potatoes. This fork has got to go. I'll mix this all together until homogeneous. At this point, you can add literally anything you want. Leftover chicken, onion powder, garlic, ginger, chives, spring onions, herbs, literally anything. Set up a breading station. One bowl has panko breadcrumbs. You can use normal if you want, but like, why would you want? Anyway, second bowl has 2 eggs and the third just plain white flour. Pinch some of the potato mixture between your fingers and roll it into a small ball, no bigger than a golf ball. With one hand, toss it in the flour and pull it out. This is your dry hand. With the other hand, roll it around the egg mixture, pick it up and drop it into the panko. This is your wet hand. With your dry hand again, sprinkle the panko all over the ball, making sure it's fully coated. We will continue to do this until we have enough to fill the pan or we are out of mixture. Our pan's still full of bacon fat from before. We've topped up with grapeseed oil, but you can use any oil you want. Turn on the stove and wait until the oil is hot. You can test this by putting in some breadcrumbs and watching for the bubbles. This looks about ready to go, so in go the balls. I had these on this side for no more than 2 minutes before I started turning them, but your stove might be different, just use your common sense, keep an eye on them. I will continue to turn them until these are all brown. Once done, they come off the heat and out of the pan, ready to be plated. I'll serve these with some homemade chunky style tomato sauce, future video, some more grated cheese, and some parsley. Delicious, tasty, and easy food. This is the best way to eat mashed potatoes.